patterns, behaviors, how to do better in their business, etc. So that's what they're being sold. That's what they're wanting. That's what they're expecting. And money's an issue for most people. And so one of the things that Danita and Linda are telling them, because we believe this isn't just a sales line. We believe this, that when they can clear some of these limiting beliefs or sabotaging patterns, they should be able to make more money. So part of the intention for most clients is to have the coaching pay for itself. That's one of the things that they want. They show up wanting to be more successful and make more money. So that's a conversation that for the most part is in their head when they get to you, right? And you just have to be aware of that. But if you go on this, if you look at this document, there are 7 bullet points as for the goals of the first call. Number 1, establish rapport, because you haven't talked to them yet. So you've got to establish rapport as a coach. And one of the things that's important to establish, and this might sound weird, coming from the energy that, that I think you all, Ola, we can see you're going incognito. Let me see if I can just share the screen. I need to find that doc. I know you've probably got some. I still don't see it. I just searched for call number 1 outline and I don't see it, Ola. Could it be that that it hasn't been shared with me? Should be in the doc, in the folder that I have access to, but I'm not seeing it in my thing for whatever reason. Can you, if you have the link, can you just shoot me over the link or text it to me and I'll just open it up, and that way I can share my screen and you don't have to share your screen? All right. While we're trying to get that taken care of so I can share it on my end, thank you for that. I got the text. Okay, perfect. So let me share my screen. All right, so you guys should be able to see it again. One of the things that's important to remember when you show up as a coach, especially on the first call, and this might sound a little strange the way I'm going to say it, but I'm going to intentionally kind of use sort of abrasive language, is that they have to know you're in charge. And they want to know you're in charge because they're paying somebody to help them make a change in their life that they know they couldn't otherwise do, right? So you want to establish rapport, but you can't show up as a passive coach. They are not in charge. They are the clients. Now, they are in charge in terms of untying their own knots and some of the things that we said earlier, but you have to have boldness, not abrasive boldness, but you have to have boldness as the coach, because they need to know that you know where you're going. They need to know that you can help them. They need to know that you have certainty, because that's what they don't have. That's why they're paying us, right? So there's a fine line. It's not difficult to do it as long as you're in a good space. You can still stay in rapport. You can be connected to them and take the lead, right? So that's probably a better way to think about it, that you're taking the lead. You're not necessarily taking charge. You're not overpowering them or anything like that, but you have to take the lead as a coach. Otherwise, you're not doing your job as a coach, right? So I just want to make that distinction or clarification when it comes to rapport, that you're not trying to get them to like you necessarily. That will happen, but you've got to show up with boldness and certainty in your energy, in your language, etc. Another piece, and I'm going to run through all of these and then ask you if you have any questions, and then we'll be done with this call. Another piece is to reassure them of their purchase, right? They're making a payment. For some of them, it's a very significant amount. And for most of them, it's a significant amount. Even if it's only, a few $100s, that's still a significant amount of money. It's not throwaway money for hardly anybody. And they make this payment, they get a few emails, they get a welcome message with a video from me to try to reassure them of the purchase. They might not listen to that. They might not watch the video. They get an email from Valerie ASAP. And we do all these things to try to get them to know that we've got them, right? You just made a significant decision and we're going to take care of you and we're going to connect with you, etc. And sometimes that still is not enough, whether they don't get the emails or they just really want to hear from the coach or what have you. So you reassuring them of the purchase is really important. That could look like you just saying, I'm really excited to coach with you. I see from the notes, if Linda or Danita sent notes to you, I see from the notes that, you really want to achieve this in your business. If there's not notes, and actually I would prefer this even if there are notes, I would say something like, I know you spoke to somebody else to decide, but I want to hear from your mouth myself. What is it that you really want to achieve in this coaching program? And then reassure them of that, right? Like, oh, that's fantastic. We're going to work on that. Even if you're not going to work on it on this call, just reassure that they're in the right place, basically, right? And that could look different for different people based on what they say. But that's an important piece of a coaching purchase, because coaching is an intimate relationship, right? And a lot of these people have never done coaching before. So we have to be aware of that, and reassuring them of the purchase is critical. Inside of that same conversation, you can do that bullet point number 3 is build anticipation for the results, right? We're going to take a look at your limiting beliefs. We're going to look at your behavior patterns. You're going to feel some energetic shifts. You're going to learn how to create more happiness and more joy. And obviously, we're going to help you get more results in your business, all that stuff. And we're never going to predict anything. You're not ever going to say, I can't wait because I'm going to help you make $1,000 extra every month. Or, if they're here and they want to lose weight, I'm going to teach you how to lose 30 pounds. So you never want to predict those kind of results, because you don't want to set them up for an expectation that might not be met. But you can, in general, speak to the results that you're excited about guiding them toward, right? More happiness, more success, more awareness, creating better habits. All those things are results that we're going to give them, right? But just don't quantify them. Okay. The next piece, making the client feel important. That's not anything specifically that you do. It's a result of you being an advocate for them and you establishing rapport and all that kind of stuff. So that's not a separate thing that you necessarily say, I'm going to say this thing to make them feel important. That's just a result, but it is one of the goals of our first call, because they need to feel significant. They need to feel heard. They need to feel important. The next one is to set intentions for the coaching experience. I like to ask the clients, what is you want to get out of this? Sometimes they'll say something that's shocking to you. They might say, you know what? Actually, this is happening in the launch mastermind that Ola and I are leading. Some of the people don't even really want to launch a product. And we thought they were all wanting to launch a product and make a bunch of money. And there are a few people in there that are like, nah, I just want to feel good about telling people what I do. And to them, that's a launch, right? To us, a launch means you're going to put together this big old campaign and do a bunch of videos and webinars, and you're going to make a bunch of money. And that's what we think a launch is. But that's not what they are expecting out of this program. And so we need to know what it is that they want, so that we can adjust. Sometimes we need to talk them out of those intentions, right? If somebody says, in the next 3 months, I want to make an extra $100,000, and they're making like $40 a month part-time right now, we're going to have to talk them down out of that expectation. That's probably not going to happen. Most of the time, we're just going to have to massage their goals a little bit. Most people don't show up with ridiculous goals, but it's important for us as the coach to know what their targets are, and then for us to sort of co-create intentions for the whole coaching experience. And that word is chosen intentionally. This is an experience. It's a journey that you're going to help, walk them through, and you're going to walk beside them during this journey. It's not this, one size fits all. It's not a funnel. It's not to open the door and all of a sudden you get all these results. This is an experience. And I think it's important for us to let them know, we're going to set these intentions, but also my job as a coach is to guide you where you need to be guided. And so we might find a few calls in that we need to go another way? And do I have your permission to guide you where I believe you need to be guided and to handle whatever is really coming up in the moment instead of what we predicted before? And 100% of the people will say yes to that. And that's important to set that, set that expectation early on in the experience so that they don't think that we have this 13 module program that's going to look as it does on paper and it's going to go one step right after the other, because it'll never happen that way. Another goal here is to understand their model of the world. We got to see what their perspective is. So you want them to talk. You want them to tell you why they think certain things sometimes. You want them to tell you what their goals are, why it's important to them to get their goals, what have you. You just want to get as much into their mind as possible. You want to understand their perspective so that you can help them, because you can't really help them to the best level that you otherwise could unless you understand their model of the world. And then this last piece is really important. We want to get them a win as soon as possible. So their goals are generally going to be long-term. Even if it's only a month away, that's still long-term. And we don't want to risk them getting upset. We don't want to risk them re-deciding that they don't want to do coaching and deciding to quit. We don't want to risk them just feeling in this place of, I don't know if this is for me. And the longer they stay in that space of non-committal and non-celebration, the more the more of a challenge it's going to be. It's just as simple as that. So we want to get them a win as soon as possible. Like on the very first call, if you can get them a win and let them know that it's a win, fantastic, and get them a win before the next call. If it's just doing a letter, a total truth letter, or doing something in values, or doing some research, or thinking, or just getting up and meditating like 3 minutes every day, do something that they can experience as progress ASAP. Even if they are relatively small wins, we need to get them a win right away, right? Especially if they have any kind of anxiety and doubt that they're bringing into the program. So we got to get them a win. So those are the goals of the first call. Let me just go ahead and complete this whole thing, because the outline is like the doing part, right? The outline, and again, this is my experience. I'm open for you guys to be flexible with this. I'm open for your input if you want. But what I generally do is just ask the client to briefly share about his or her situation, why they decided to hire me as a coach. Briefly share about them, or I, as the coach, briefly share about myself and any parts of the journey that relate to the clients. So that's just where you can build rapport based on situation or circumstance, where you might say, yeah, you know what? I remember totally being afraid to sell and afraid to talk to people about anything that I'm up to. And so I can tell you that when we make that shift, it's going to be, monumental. And then they know that you've traveled the path that they're walking on currently. That's not a necessary piece to coaching. You don't have to have done something that you're coaching somebody else to do. But if possible, make that connection. And if not possible, specifically in the journey that they're on, just share about yourself. Share about personal development, etc. That's going to be a shorter part, because this call is not about you, but it is important that you share a little bit about yourself so they can see themselves in you. The third thing, I like to ask them if they have any questions whatsoever about anything at all before we kind of get going, right? And I'd say half the time they'll ask something, about the structure of the calls, like, do we meet every week or every other week, or what if I have to miss a call? It's interesting how anxious they are about certain things that aren't, in my opinion, like all that important. But if they're carrying that anxiety into the call, I want to clear it before we actually get into the call. Otherwise, they might just stay in that space of anxiety, and we might not ever get there, right? So it's important to ask them if they have anything, and then it's almost like you can get to the point where, okay, you've handled any questions, and then we can all just take a deep breath together, and then, okay, let's go. Let's start, right? And then our suggestion, unless something else shows up that's more important, is to walk them through the environments assessment. The reason the environments assessment is so important is it gives them a starting place, right? And we'll do this in Atlanta. Gives them a starting place to say, okay, to take a look at their life and go, okay, there are 10 areas here, and one of them is usually going to stick out as a pain point that we've got to really address. So it gives them this target to immediately dive in, and it gives you a way to give them a win, right? Because what I would suggest based on what comes up in that assessment is that they choose 1 to 3 environments to improve before the next call, and that will get this sense of progress and this sense of movement, and a lot of times, peace or joy or more happiness or something like that. So the environments assessment is great to set up a win, and then it's also great later on in the coaching program to go back and go, remember when you thought your relationship was a 4 and now you're a 7? That's fantastic. So it gives them a measurable way to judge the progress during the coaching program, which is incredibly important and very powerful. And it might, towards the end of the coaching program, give you a way to show them that there's more work to do. Maybe they went from a 4 to 7, but they want to be at a 9. And in this other environment, they want to move that to an 8. And so it might give you a way to actually continue coaching with them and sell another package to them, because there's a measurable way to look at the progress that they've made. So that's our intention of the call outline. You're not going to be, nobody's going to be listening to your calls necessarily. We're not going to be, helicopter parents and making sure, did you do this? Did you do this? We'll trust your intuition if you feel like you need to go another way, but unless that shows up, this is how we want the first call to run. So before I open it up for questions from anybody, I want to turn it to Jackie, since you've done these calls many, many times with our clients. The first time you talk to them is after they've paid, etc. You've lived what I'm explaining. Is there anything you would add to any of this that I've just gone through?
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. That was weird. I wasn't even muted. Okay.
I muted you.
So
everybody. Sorry.
Oh, I was muted on your end.
Sorry.
Okay. So the only thing that jumped out at me is that I actually send them a welcome email. Like after Valerie assigns me a client, I personally send them a welcome email, and I invite them to tell me anything they want to tell me before that first call. So
like that.
I would say maybe half the people take me up on that. And I love it, because that way I get on the call and they've already told me a bunch of stuff. So I feel like I know them a little bit before we get started. And I'm happy to share that at anytime, like at the appropriate point. If you want it now, I can send out what I send to them.
I'd love
to give you it. Okay. I'll send that to all of you. And it's just my template. So, use what you want. It'll give you a starting point if you choose to go that route.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Artemis, I need your email. I might be in your phone.
Can you hear me, Jackie?
Yep.
My email is my first and last name, Artemis Limpert, I'm going to give you, at me.com.
Okay. Got it.
Sean, there's that coaching intake form that I created for various sessions, and it has the client assessment like prior to each call. Do you want them to be using that, or would you like to share that, or what are your thoughts on that? I shared it with
Well, you're speaking about like the prep form, right?
Yeah, the prep form. Michelle knows because I sent it to Michelle.
I've been using it with my clients because I always used, whenever I coach with Sean, like I loved
Yeah.
prep form.
Yeah, if we're talking about the prep form before every call, then yeah, I do want everybody to use that.
But what Jackie's talking about is different, right?
Different. Yeah, it's a little different.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure. I wasn't sure if there was a difference between the two.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Do you want me to send that out now, or do you want me to wait to send that out to share with them?
You could just wait.
Okay.
We'll go through some of that.
Yeah, because it probably needs some explanation as well. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Anything else from anybody about this stuff?
I like it. I love the environments from the perspective of providing perspective, honestly. That's not surprising, but brilliant. So I like that a lot.
Cool. Yeah, it is a good way to start. And it's something relatively easy for them to engage in. Like it's not, super intimidating or very emotional or whatever for the most part. So it's an easy thing to kind of get into it. And then they see the reality of their life, and then it gives a lot more leverage to dive into some of these areas. So it's like a safe first step that could lead to something really big.
Do you just kind of cut them off in the briefly shares?
I'll usually say just, give me like the 2-minute version of who you are. I'll give them a little bit of time like that. I'm not going to necessarily cut them off at 2 minutes, but if it's going long, yeah, especially if I have a half hour with them and they're talking and I feel like it's not useful. But sometimes I'll let somebody talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes because I'm getting a lot of these things. Like I'm understanding their model of the world.
Right.
Where they are. It's still useful. So I think the standard for me is as soon as you feel it's no longer useful, cut them off.
Okay.
And as long as it's useful, just let them keep going, and you get to determine that as the coach.
Okay.
But I'm glad you said this because cutting them off, even though you wouldn't do it abrasively, is one of the ways that you show you're in control.
Express that, yeah, right.
So that's actually important to do
Bless you, baby.
is to get them to stop talking. And it could usually when I do that, I'll tell them why I just cut them off. I'll say, okay, let me jump in here for a second. I know I'm not, I don't intend to just cut you off, but I want to go back to what you said a minute ago because that's what I really want to focus on, right?
Got it.
I'll give them like a reason, and usually it's some version of just what I said there. Let's go back to here. And then generally, if I've already determined that where we were going wasn't useful anyway, then I'll never go back there unless, it becomes useful later. So you can do it. And I've never had anybody feel like they were cut off or get upset. But, you got to do that.
That's so true.
Anything else, you guys?
No, but you just answered a question I had. I was saving it for my mentor call with Jackie.
Check. Now you get to ask a better question.
Right.
There you go. You get to ask the next one up. Awesome. Well, I apologize. Not that we had any fault in it, but I apologize for the little internet disconnects here. I just choose to believe that it must have been perfect for some reason. Maybe we wouldn't have gotten to something that we, maybe we did get to something that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But I do want to be, I want to be aware of the time. And I thank you guys. I know we've been on for a little over an hour and a half now. So if you have any other questions, reach out to us about Atlanta or any of this kind of stuff. Michelle already emailed out the link to download the call. Thank you again, Michelle. We'll send an email to remind you of what, we want from you. And just get ready. It's going to be amazing.
Ola, are you shopping before 2:00 on that Wednesday? Or are you going shopping when you get there? Are you there still, Ola?
Unmute. Okay, yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so the plan is I don't even get in until like 2:30. I think, Jackie, you get in little earlier than I do, and we were gonna Uber together, right? Is that what we were gonna do?
I think so.
Okay. So what time do you get in? I think you get in at like 12:30 and I get in at 2:15 or something.
Oh, well, I don't
have to
I
wait.
might leave you in the dust.
I know. That's okay. But yeah,
I gotta look.
the plan is to meet at the house as soon as I'm just going to jump in an Uber as soon as I get to the airport and hop on over to the house, collect who's ever there, and we will Uber to the grocery store or take somebody's car. If somebody happens to have a car, that would be fabulous.
Well, I'm assuming Yolanda and I will have cars.
Yeah, but I don't know how early Yolanda can get there on Thursday.
Well, I have an appointment in Atlanta because obviously I'm going to not be a pain in everybody's ass and I'm just going to go shopping. I just didn't know if I needed to come with a cooler or if I can just go to the store with you guys. I have an appointment in Atlanta around noon. So I was thinking that somewhere, just depending on Atlanta traffic, I would be getting to the house somewhere around the 3 o'clock time. So if it served you, like we could certainly, I mean, I'm going to have a Jeep, so we can jump in the
Go
Jeep and
together.
go to the store.
That would be fabulous.
Well, that's great.
Let's have that for the plan. Like we'll plan to leave the house by, somewhere in the 3 o'clock hour.
Okay.
To head to the store once we like drop our bags. I'm going to send out a note, just kind of letting everybody know, creating the event in the master coach group and inviting everybody who is going to be there so that everybody can share their travel plans on Facebook. And I sent you guys all a link to the itinerary. It is being rented right after us, but I don't know if it's not being rented until Monday or if it is, until all day Sunday, or if they're moving in on Saturday afternoon after we leave. So I'm not sure right now. I have a request out to the owners, but I'll let you know as soon as I know. But it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 and $450 a night. Yeah, I think $450 a night if I've got it right. $450 a night for the place. So I don't know, Artemis, if you're interested in that at that price point. But I do have a request out to find out if we can keep it for an extra day or an extra night.
I think that probably won't work for Linda. So I'm going to just find a place close by. I'm going to text her right now. Yeah,
okay.
Because I've rented houses before, so I'm not surprised by that. I already knew that, but I don't think she knew that.
Yeah, it's a big, because it's such a big property. And
yeah. No, so I already knew that, but I don't think she did. So I'm pretty sure that that's not
going to
where
work.
She would probably want it. Yeah.
Okay, that's totally fine. So I'll let it go. I just wanted to give you that update. But otherwise, look for some stuff from us in terms of clarification. And I'm just excited to see you all in Atlanta.
Me too. I'm probably getting in there late,
Me
guys.
too, you guys. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Late,
thank you, Dawn. Thank you for putting this together, for making this happen.
Of course.
So grateful.
Happy to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Guys, I probably won't be there before 9 o'clock.
You won't be there till 9 o'clock Thursday night?
I don't think so. Yeah, because after work, I'm going to head home and going to make sure.
Are you moving or something? Do you have anything going on, Yolanda?
Yeah, I'm moving that weekend. It's such a mess. And I was all the way into the answer before I realized you're kidding.
Doesn't she know?
Yeah,
about
I have an incredible amount of sympathy. Yeah, I'm still not settled.
You're looking pretty settled when I look behind you. You're looking pretty moved in.
Right?
Like one little wall.
One wall.
Yeah, I gotta go make sure my kiddies are doing okay. They're starting a new school that week as well. So I wanna do my mommy check-in before I head off.
Oh,
you're awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you everybody for your time today. Please continue to use each other and contact Sean or I if you have any questions whatsoever. Don't hesitate.
Awesome sauce.
Thank you guys.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Welcome, Artemis.
Yay!
Welcome. Yeah. Welcome, Artemis.
Thank you guys.
No,
Love
it's
to you.
Y'all be well, be safe. See you soon.
You too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.